Ladies and gentlemen, Big Herald News.
Hey, kia ora koutou e te whānau. Welcome back to another episode of Big Hairy News. Kia ora, Chewie. Oh my God, you've got the name Chewie today. This is like, must be the first time this year your label has actually said Chewie and nothing else. There, that one.
I might change it on a whim. I'm a whimsical person. I'm chock full of whimsy.
What's going on? How are you, man? What's crack-a-lackin'?
Oh, what is it? Midweek?
No,
yes.
It's Tuesday. I said to my wife today as we were driving in the car, I went, it's Monday. And she went, it's Tuesday. I went, what? Just everything's blurring at the moment. I don't know what the hell's going on in the world. So it's Tuesday.
Hey, can I tell you a secret?
Oh, please do.
Can I tell you a secret? And I want.
No one else listening?
I want to keep a tight circle on this.
No one's listening.
Can't fucking clip this, right?
Okay.
So my family, we don't do massive gift giving for Christmas. We just do a secret Santa. Everybody gets somebody, just one person, and you just buy the one gift. And it's a random draw. And I got my sister's boyfriend, who is an unironic Trump supporter.
Oh, hang on. I got something you can give him. You can give him this. Ready?
You're being rude. You're fake news. You're fake news.
So he'd enjoy that too much.
You're fake news.
What about this then? What about this? What about the Trump troll? You give him that?
Yeah, no, I think he'd enjoy that too much.
This
I think
is
he'd
the dog.
enjoy that too much. So
No, Nala. It's not yours.
what I've got him,
Yeah.
I've got him a red baseball cap that says "Made you look, fuck Trump," and I just I think it's funny.
Yeah.
My wife thinks it's funny and has thoroughly endorsed me to do this. But now it's ordered and on the way. I'm just like, oh, is this gonna cause some drama? And
Can I offer one more
care?
thing? Can I offer one more idea? Here's one more idea for you. You could give him that, and then you could go, just kidding. Here's your real present, and give him Jacinda Ardern's book. That'd be the real
Maybe
present.
a book on the rise of fascism, or Benito Mussolini, or something.
Dear
like,
idea.
I kind of want to take some of the sting out of it, and then I kind of like want to see the world burn, and I've still got time.
Yeah. Hey, a big show tonight, whānau. Got a family meeting coming up next for about 5 minutes. We're going to give you a big update as to new programming in the BHN whānau. But first of all, up above me there in the top left. Yeah, it's funny because doing that, it's not left in the camera,
It's over
but
there.
it's up there. As I look at the screen, it's
over
left.
here.
Yeah.
Look, it's there.
Is the QR code that leads you to the New Zealand Podcast Awards to nominate us for a listener choice. This all closes down tomorrow, I think. So I know we say this all the time, but I also know I'm one of those people that go, I mean, how many of you voted at the last minute for the local body elections? Chewie did. I did. We know that this happens.
Get out of my car.
So there is the Podcast Awards. It's the listener choice. It's the only one that's designed or manipulated by the people. And if you haven't done it yet, we'd appreciate. And if you have done it yet and you've got another email address, well, do it again with a different name. I mean, just saying. I mean, probably shouldn't say that, but just saying. And on the entry form, we're obviously Big Hairy News, and you have to list where you listen to us. And you can use the Apple podcast link, the Spotify podcast link. You can probably use the YouTube link. You can't use Twitter because I still am not back on Twitter. They haven't given me my rights back. So we shall see what happens. Now, you ready? We're not focusing on this tonight. We're going to do, I can't do it with both hands because I'm going to use this hand on the mouse. So I'll go. Oh no, that's the banner. Sorry, that was the banner. Now we'll do it.
Walalo.
There you go, gone, just like that. So tonight, whānau, I'm actually quite interested. I've heard it, and I'd be interested in your position on this, Chewie, and for the whānau as well. Is that Te Ururoa Flavell, former leader of the Maori Party before it was Te Pāti Māori, spoke to Ryan Bridge this morning about what's going on with Te Pāti Māori. Now, one of the I wouldn't say criticisms, but one of the themes that we've heard from people is in these issues around Māoridom, it's good to have Māori to speak to it. So not only is Te Ururoa Flavell have a lot of mana in that area and can speak from the heart, but he also was involved in the politics. He was part of the Māori Party when Hone split and went to form Mana. So he's been in and amongst, he wasn't the leader then, but he's been in and amongst Te Pāti Māori, or the Māori Party kind of separating. Another little note, just so you know, I actually have been messaging Hone about coming on. He's just gone, nah, no thanks. So yeah, fair, understand why, no problems whatsoever. So we'll have a look at that. Also, Christopher Hipkins on the capital gains tax this morning. I was actually on the Herald show as well. Winston and Christopher Luxon have picked up handbags at 30 yards and are swinging it at each other. It's delightful to see, including Winston basically saying the government hasn't fixed the economy yet, which I don't know if he's aware that he's the government, but he's saying how the government is not doing good enough. It's him. That as well. And look, also the Jevon McSkimmings thing, which came out quite recently. It was a breaking news basically at 6 p.m. About what the IPCA has done and the leadership within the police. We're going to touch on that shortly. That's not part of the assigned notes because the show was already put together before that came out. And we're actually going to talk about that with someone who is joining us in just a minute. Is there anything else I need to talk to the whānau about, Chewie? Or are we done? 5 stories tonight, so we're gonna have to truck a little bit.
Vote in the podcast awards. do that. Do one of those votes.
Want to welcome to the show whānau. You know him from TikTok and from when Chewie McMasters was away fangirling various punk rockers in the UK. Sean Acklin filled in for us, and he joins us right now. Sean, kia ora and good evening.
Kia ora. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being had. Yeah, hey, this is a bit of a, we do this sometimes, a bit of a family meeting, notices, so to speak. I teased this a little bit the other night, but let me just play a little bit of music, which might give people a bit of a hint as to what we are talking about tonight. Or actually, we're giving people a headline. We're telling people about a new initiative in the big, hairy network. Oh! Yes, you can see there is flashes and there is lights and there are people and there is a title of a show which used to be called The Leftist Collective, which is now basically called The Collective. I guess if we were Te Pāti Māori, we'd be saying it's a reset. And I think we want to tell the people what we've all talked about, what we've decided and what's going out. Sean Acklin, a podcaster, TikToker, and one of the 4 main hosts in the new BHN show, The Collective. Tell us about it.
Basically, the idea for The Collective kind of had its origins, I think a couple of weeks ago back at the teachers' strike. Ran into Paul Barlow, IRL as the kids say, and we took a selfie. Got a lot of momentum, and it was the latest in it was the latest in a running theme between the 4 of us, where we're all getting tagged in each other's videos. We're all kind of there's like a bit of a demand in our viewership for us to all collaborate, and this project is very much that. If I were to describe the project, it would be a re-debut of the original Leftist Collective program, which used to air on the Big Hairy Network, just with myself, Jordan Rivers, Bree Elliott, and Paul Barlow, as the four main hosts. Think of it as the idea that we've all kind of had is that it's kind of like a politically left panel show version of 7 Days, where we kind of look at news stories from the past month. We dissect, we analyze, we give our own kind of macro framing that maybe is missing in the mainstream media, and kind of angles that aren't touched on as we feel they should be. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I think that if anybody watches, there's obviously a massive overlap between us four in terms of viewership. Anybody familiar with our content would kind of understand the approach that we'll be taking with each of these news stories, the kind of different angles that kind of lend to each of our sensibilities, and really looking forward to it. So that's pretty much it. Another kind of thing that Paul wanted me to touch on was that it would also feature at the end of every episode a kind of tricky question that will be put to the four of us, and it'll be kind of like a sticky one that we all have to cover. So
cool.
Overall, really excited. I think that people will enjoy it. You should all watch.
Good sell. Now, we've been talking a bit about as well the idea that we will probably start it monthly-ish. Not monthly-ish, monthly. That's what you guys have decided. The four of you are the regular hosts, but that also doesn't mean there might not be guests and etc. Other things, other people coming on. And maybe, depending on what happens closer to the election, it might move to fortnightly or something, but that's all in the future. So wait and see what we wait and see. And when it was kind of launched way back, the previous iteration, it was always an idea to put each other's content in front of other people in that same political sphere. Is that still the vibe you're sort of going with as well? So you can point to other people and say, hey, they're part of our team too. And, they're part of the collective. They're not on the show today, but they're part of the collective, and we should check them out as well.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because that is important. And it kind of alludes back to that 7 Days example, because if you think of that program, you do have your regulars, but you also have your you have your semi-regulars, you have your special guests, you have no panel is ever really the same every episode. And that is definitely what we're aiming for, because the four of us don't have a monopoly on, we thankfully don't have a monopoly on political left commentary in this country. And we'll be doing everything we can to kind of amplify the voices of people who very much should be amplified.
Yeah, and we had a good piece last night from the American commentators talking about how very well the right does the pipeline, and they drag people in on a very, very minor sounding thing like men's fitness, and all of a sudden they're down watching Andrew Tate. And so the right do that better. I mean, credit where credit's due, if you want to give people associated with Andrew Tate credit. But it's important for people on the left, especially coming into next year, to have a pipeline to the truth. Should we put it that way? Pipeline to the truth.
Yeah, it would be nice to have a pipeline. Right now, I feel like I am kind of intercepting. I feel like there's especially because I see my viewership analytics. I'm happy to say it's mainly men, because I feel like that's the content that I want. My content is the kind of content that I want to get through to men, to young men especially. And so kind of if these guys go on TikTok, they see a few workout videos that leads them to a few videos on how to, how to kind of date or pick up girls or whatever, which eventually leads them down that Andrew Tate rabbit hole. I'm there to kind of get them before that happens.
Yeah.
So that's and I feel like that's what we're doing right now. We're just intercepting all of these people from going down those very, very well-established pipelines, because it's actually not just young men, it's women as well. It starts like, if you think of healthy recipes online, that eventually leads to kind of stuff like maha. It leads to the anti-vax stuff, which again, so it's the more of us that are out there to kind of run cover to
The better.
keep these guys, the better.
Yeah. Chewie?
I saw a couple of really good examples of this recently in I guess the American algorithm. Is that there was a guy, I think he's a carpenter, and he's just his footages of just him making chests of drawers and stuff like that. But the whole time he's talking about leftist politics and what socialism actually is and what's going on in the house at the moment. And then occasionally calling out people that are going, why can't you just stick to the woodwork? And he goes, cool. So I'm doing a dovetail joint here. And what we really need to do is make sure that we're voting for progressive people all the time. And then I saw another one, which was a guy with a sort of a garage workshop, and he's doing car stuff. And the one that I saw was just a comment of like, hey, look, I'm a trans woman that's very much in the car scene, and I can't find a place where I am. Is your channel a safe place for a trans woman that likes cars? And he was just like, emphatically, yes. And fuck all of these people that won't let you in the scene. Do you like cars? That's all we care about. You know what? Now I'm going on a huge rant about this. And he has massively pivoted into that, going, oh, okay, no one in this scene is talking about these things. And it's fascinating to watch.
The interesting, Sean, you said that your viewership is young men. We get that as well. We have a skew to male, and Bomber always talks about young men are the people who we need to reach, because that's who the Trump type person reached with their, bro podcast and that kind of thing. And it's interesting because TVNZ young men have abandoned TVNZ, television in general. And I know that for a fact, their figures that they've gone from TVNZ. So they're going to be attracted to something else. And if it's you, or respectfully or humbly, if it's us, that's a good place to be. I thought what we might do to start the show off is if you're cool to stay for 5 minutes, Sean, we might talk about, sorry. Before we do this, there was a question. I saw you highlighted it, Chewie, and I think we'll do this because we haven't said this. What is it called when? So it's called The Collective.
The Collective.
What is the platform? And the platform is anywhere that you see anything on the Big Hairy Network. So the main two places that's going to be is on the Big Hairy Network Facebook page and the Big Hairy Network YouTube channel. So they're going to be the two main places. There's a Twitch channel and there's some other little bits and bobs, but they're the main two places. And when this Sunday, 7 p.m., and I believe you guys are going to try and do another one in a month, so 2 in 2025, is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
And then at the moment, the conversation is monthly. Will you kind of keep it middle of the month? Have you got a rule for that yet? Or we just figure that out next year?
We'll probably, tentatively, it is probably we're going to keep it at the middle of the month. If kind of plans change, or the format of our program is actually, it lends itself quite well to kind of people's schedules, because we can just bring in it's an opportunity to bring in new voices and introduce new faces to audiences. So we're not beholden to everybody's schedule, we're not restricted. So
I am just a couple of other quick questions. Kiwi Bird wants to know if you'll be shirtless smoking cigars during it. I mean, there's a question. Okay.
I think it's an Andrew Tate reference.
Okay. And also 15mm history says, LOL Sean, history class 07 SPCAR. Does that make sense to you?
That does make sense to me. I assume it's somebody who I went to school with back at St. Peter's College in 2007, where we did history.
Did you go to St. Peter's College in Auckland, Mountain Road, Epsom? Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Eagle River.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I bet whoever that guy is, I bet that his head is spinning watching me on the show, because I was not a good student.
There you go. Well, hello, Pat. Hello, Chewie. Not a good students. So we just kind of, the people with the biggest opinions sometimes, you know. Hey, so what we'll do, Sean, now is we've done all that. Thanks, team, for your input. 7 p.m. Sunday night, be here. And then in about a month, Sunday night as well, 7 p.m., be here again. Let's have a look at this. And Sean, we've got you here. So do one story with us to give the people a bit of a vibe around who you are and what you're about. This I caught on the 6 o'clock news. It was really... It's very rare to see the 6 p.m. news on TV1. I don't know if TV3 did it or not, but cut live. So the TV1 news started and they went breaking news. And normally when TV1 does that, it's a story that's come out at 5:30 and they've got a package for it. But literally went to Mikey Sherman in the corridors of the Parliament and she literally went, there's a press conference going on right now, let's go to it. And they went straight to the press conference where Mark Mitchell spoke and then the police commissioner spoke and then there was Q&A. The Attorney General didn't speak. Well, did obviously, but not during One News. And it's that the Jevon McSkimming complaint, right? He's been done for, and I'm just going to paraphrase, I'm not going to necessarily hit the exact charges, but basically child porn and bestiality. That's the things that were in his computer and whatever that means legally. But what came out in this IPCA report, amongst other things, and I'm sure we'll learn more over the next 24 hours, is that there was just as a female, I don't even know if it says female officer, but a female was a complainant about Jevon McSkimming's alleged inappropriate sexual conduct. Alleged. Now, he never got charged with anything, but what happened, what's being reported now, is that the individual that made the complaint was the person that was then charged under the Harmful Digital Communications Act in relation to emails that accused McSkimming of sexual offending during his time at the police. So she sent emails saying, this person has offended sexually, and she was then charged. The charges have been withdrawn. No charges were laid against McSkimming for sexual offending, so we need to be careful. You know, it's alleged, yada, yada. But that's what's come out today. And at the press conference, what I thought was interesting was they used the phrase several times at the highest level. Such and such happened at the highest level. Now, the only thing I was unclear on is the highest level of the police is Parliament. I'm assuming they were saying at the highest level, but they never said of the police. They just said at the highest level. There was no accusations made in the press conference I saw about any ministers or anything doing anything untoward, but that's still something that needs to be cleared up a little bit. But I guess, Sean, you're our guest. If you want to have first crack at this breaking news story, which we're going to find out more about in the next couple of days, what are your initial thoughts on it?
My initial thoughts is that it's horrifying, it's scary. That would speak to a systemic intention to dissuade complaints against other officers, let alone positions of power. You said before that it would reach Parliament. I don't know. I think in my imagination, when I hear at the highest level, I assume I would, like, it's weird to say I would hope, but I would hope that it's within the police and doesn't reach as high as Parliament. If it were to reach as high as Parliament, that would be a monumental just scandal. And I feel kind of weird using the word scandal, because scandal to me, I feel is a bit reductive. It's kind of implying that I feel it kind of doesn't give the appropriate gravity to the story. I don't know what words you would use for it. It's horrifying. And to me, my takeaway is that a common talking point when it comes to kind of promoting people is, and especially in right-wing circles, is, well, who's the best person for the job? Like, don't like, I don't want to get into identity politics. I don't care about if you're black, white, whatever. Who's the best person for the job? And it's like, guess what? Sometimes your identity, the demographic that you belong to, whether it be gender or racial identity, does very much factor into the merit of that role. I do imagine that if we had more females in that at the high end of the police, I think something like this, not only do I not think that anything like this would happen, I think that the complaint would have probably actually been touched on. So I think it's just, and again, it's all alleged, and I'm speaking at this point, I'm speaking hypothetically just to cover ourselves, but yeah, it's pretty hard time.
Chewie?
I'm going to link this to a couple of things. Remember the shitstorm when it was dared be suggested that some people don't feel safe around the cops?
Yeah.
Right? And this is why. Because we can link this back to other high-profile cases where women went up against the police or tried to draw attention to the behaviour of the police, and they were ignored, they were sidelined, they were maligned, they character assassinated, some of them. And here we have, again, an old boys network closing ranks at the highest fucking level. These are leaders. These are people that have been involved in the police for many, many years and have worked their way up and built those relationships. So this sounds rotten to the core. And now we've got Mark Mitchell, again, closing ranks. He's a former cop. He's one of the boys. Can we really trust him to look at the police as it stands and goes, well, this is fucking serious?
Yeah.
Do I have to cut out the rot? Or do I just have to make sure that people don't see it?
Hey,
that's my concern.
Chewie, can I just take a step back and just congratulate you on that link you just made? That is fucking genius, mate, what you have just said. Like, honestly, this is what you're talking about. And the link you've just made is I'm not even going to think of a flash word. It's just absolutely spot on, to a point that I will be messaging Tamitha shortly and see if we can get her tomorrow night. I know she's been off on sick leave, but she's back at work, because what you've just said is all of the people who said to Tamitha, well, why would anyone be scared of the police? Let me just read a bit more of this article just to come back in and see why they'd be scared of the police. The complaint it talks about comes as the IPCA has released a damning report into the handling of serious complaints made against the former top cop. 135-page report said there had been serious failings by very senior officers. Now listen to this if you're someone laying a complaint. The charges, Stuff understands, right? So you're the person who's not supposed to be scared of the police, right? So you're the victim. Stuff understands the individual accused McSkimming of sexually assaulting her in a series of emails. However, according to LAC and the IPCA, police unquestioningly accepted McSkimming's story of events and laid charges against her instead of investigating the allegations. So they didn't even investigate the allegations according to the IPCA, they just laid charges. Over a period of years, she attempted to report allegations of serious physical, psychological, and sexual offending by McSkimming. Then one of the most senior officers in the country, instead of being heard, she was dismissed and utterly prosecuted for speaking out and raising her concerns, her lawyer said. Let me ask one other thing. Now, I'm not going to jump up and down about conspiracy theories yet. I'm unclear, and maybe I haven't quite read it yet, I'm going to skim, when this started. And then I'd like to also understand when the complaints were laid, because it said over a series of years. When did Mr. Mitchell leave the police? Like, was there a crossover? I'm not accusing him of doing anything. I would just like to know, when you're talking about the Old Boys Network closing rank, could there have been any crossover between people he knew personally and that? Because that would be an interesting thing. Now, again, make it very clear, I'm not making any accusations against Mark Mitchell, but what are the years this happened and who was in charge then and who were senior police officers then? That's what I would like to know now.
Yeah. That's what you need to look at. You've got two of them now. So what are the links? What are the relationships? And I'm sorry, they need to be investigated fully. The charges that they brought against this woman My understanding was basically she was spamming them. She sent 300 emails making this accusation. And so I think they go, this is fucking out the gates and annoying. Let's see if we can get her to stop. But at no point did they go, we are the police. We need to be held to the highest standard. Like, where is the accountability? But yeah, everybody associated with these guys needs to be disinfected from it. That it needs to be independent as fuck. Even to the point that Mark Mitchell needs to recuse himself as it's a conflict of interest. They need to bring in, what do they call it? Like when they do a royal commission or something like that?
In the movies, it's called internal affairs. I don't know what it's called.
Independent. And look, I have to say that there was announced independent. I also want to say right now, I can see in his bio that he finished up, ironically, the group he had working in Afghanistan, Somalia, and Darfur was called Threat Management Group. He sold that in 2010, so there's probably no crossover there. So I won't quite withdraw and apologise, but I will say there's probably no smoke there. Not that I was accusing him of doing anything, but if he knew people who knew people, is there a conflict, as Chewie's just said?
I mean, there's the Independent Police Complaints Authority. I don't think that's independent enough for this. Like, I think this is... Well,
they've pointed it out. They're the ones that have made some big noise about it. But if they've made some big noise about it, what I think you're saying, Chewie, correct me if I'm wrong, is it must be really bad. Because if they're making big noises about it.
If the top cop gets taken out for child abuse, porn, and bestiality on a work computer... that is a big problem. And like there are other smaller problems. Like there was a story last week about how a whole bunch of breath testing results were just wrong. You know, a huge amount, thousands and thousands just didn't exist or were false results or that sort of thing. So when you're looking at that and you're going, do people trust the cops? Does a woman that has an accusation against a police officer feel safe to go into a police station and make a complaint and be treated fairly? Now, you wouldn't say that's going to happen every time, but when it's you doing it, do you trust the cops? And I think everybody here that jumped on Tamara over her. Sorry, did I say the name wrong?
Tamitha, sorry. Brain fart. Who jumped on Tamitha and said, oh, you're crazy. You can't say this about the police. They all owe her an apology. And they need to line up. Like, let's go back to Louise Nichols. Because this sounds so much like that. She made complaints, was ignored. Rapist cop gets away with it for ages. Now, Sean, you probably won't have the same problem as you do right now on the collective, and that's trying to get a word in edgewise. I'm sure you're much more polite. But me and Chewie will shut up right now, and we'll let you have the last point, and then we're going to move on. What would you like to wrap up with?
Yeah, Chewie touched on it before. What was it, 300 emails or whatever that she sent? I don't know if you're being... Was that the real... Okay. I think another kind of angle for the story that we need to come from is that we need to give her some serious props. It takes extreme bravery in that situation to be able to kind of make the complaint in the first place once. And most think about the fact that most women don't even do it once. And from seeing this story, you can kind of understand why. When you see what happens when you do lay a complaint, the fact that she didn't fucking relent is so, I think it demonstrates a lot of bravery. It's something that she deserves all the credit in the world for. I hope that her hard work and all this eventually pays off, because it's not something that any female in the workplace should ever have to encounter. And if it does, and if they, heaven forbid, they do encounter it, there should be consequences. And also, I agree, we all, not we, but there are a lot of people who owe Tamitha Paul a big fat apology.
Yeah.
So I think I'm not going to hold my breath. But
Thanks for joining us, Sean. Everyone in the chat is excited, as me and Chewie are as well, about the collective this Sunday, 7 p.m. Wherever people are watching this right now, that's where it will be playing. And have fun. I'm sure we'll talk through the week. And thanks for your input tonight. And go hard when it gets to the new podcast.
absolutely. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. All right. All the best. Dude, I was just reading a bit about Mark Mitchell. I got distracted. Can I read you a paragraph about Mark Mitchell when he's in police? It sounds like he left police 21 years ago. So, I mean, that brain fart I had is really irrelevant. But listen to this. Just listen to this. Listen to this. Forget who he is and how you feel about him. Just think about a human being going through what I'm about to read you as like a creative story, like a detective novel. He joined the police age 21, served for 13 years working as a dog handler in the Armed Defenders Squad. During the 1990s, Mitchell sustained damage to his lungs after rescuing the residents of a burning house during an arson attempt. He later sustained serious facial injuries during a confrontation with members of the mongrel mob gang in Gisborne. As a result of the incident, Mitchell underwent maxillofacial surgery at Waikato Hospital to rebuild his eye socket and repair nerve damage. Mitchell also sustained damage to his elbow while attempting to apprehend a suspect armed with a samurai sword in Rotorua, resulting in long-lasting nerve damage. After leaving the police, Mitchell undertook an executive education shot Wharf. I mean, sheesh. There's a story or two to be told there. Anyway, yeah. Look, I'm going to contact Tamitha. I might even do it while we're working tonight, but I'll contact Tamitha if she wants to come on tomorrow night because, Chewie, when you drop a pearl, sometimes they are the best pearls in the sea, and that connection you just made was brilliant. I don't love
that phrasing, Pat. I don't love that phrasing.
You don't want to give me a pearl necklace at all? None? Not for me?
Jesus.
Here's something else about pearl necklaces. This software that we use has just enabled us, and we're not doing it tonight because I'm dyslexic and it's hard for me to work out, have just enabled us to do both vertical videos and horizontal videos at the same time. So maybe tomorrow night we'll be live streaming this to TikTok as well. And if we go to TikTok, we have to say things like unalive because there's some words in TikTok that will get you booted and banned immediately. So there might be a word list coming out tomorrow that says
Tiananmen Square, Palestinian genocide, all of that sort of stuff.
Sorry, I interrupted you. What were you going to say to wrap?
I don't know now. I'm just thinking about trolling TikTok.
I think you were talking about a good news story to start the night, weren't you?
Oh, yes! Good news story. Because we're talking about fucking bestiality on a work computer.
We're not talking about it. We're reporting other people. We're not, let's just be clear. We're getting ready for TikTok now. We can't say certain words, so we're going to call it animal cuddles rather than bestiality because we're pretending we're on TikTok now. Off you go.
Okay, look, we need a palate cleanser clearly for all of this fucking nonsense, right? So let's have some good news. My understanding is that this is fairly fresh news. As I steal the screen from Pat, Candace Owens has cancelled her Auckland event,
and she cancelled it. That's the headline I saw.
Yes. Now, this was the thing. Of course, she was denied entry into Australia because they said that her rhetoric and her messages would be harmful to Australian society. 100% agree. They made the right call. And usually when that happens, our immigration go, yep, cool. If they can't get into Australia, they can't get into New Zealand as well. But the minister, whose name escapes me right now, overruled that decision and said, yes, she should be allowed into New Zealand. Now, I said at the time, New Zealand's the sideshow here. If she can't get into Australia, she will cancel this.
Right.
Like, there's just no point to come all of this way for one thing. But in that period where she's not getting into Australia and she hasn't yet cancelled New Zealand, there's still grifting to be done. Free speech unions banging the drum for all of that sort of stuff. But now we can thankfully go that this horrible, horrible person is not coming. And that's something I think we can all be happy about.
It's interesting, because there's also interesting things going on in America at the moment around the infighting from the MAGA right. You know, and it all stems around basically Israel, but the infighting around that and around what's his name, used to be on Fox News, Tucker Carlson's in there. I'm about to show you a clip from Mr. Man, I just don't care so much about the people. I don't even store their names. Ben Shapiro, and they're all the infighting going on to get dominance maybe in a market that is now harder to penetrate. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but it's funny. I thought what we might do as well, Chewie, we were going to talk a bit about, like super quick, about the American situation with the government being reopened. So seeing you've talked about Candace Owens, maybe we just do it right now because it's only a couple of minutes, because there seems to be well, do you know who Tizzy is? Tizzy Entertainment? He does, he's pretty big on TikTok. There's some criticism around him as well, this dude here.
Oh,
and
yes. Yeah. I like his stuff.
He's okay. There's some stuff in his background which people think are a bit questionable, but in general, he has come out and made culprit, so he's done the right thing about it. But his whatever this is, post, there you go, says this: 8 Democrats fold like cheap suits and make the last 40 days of resistance amount to nothing. Let's have a listen.
2 days ago, Democrats drew a line in the sand, said millions of Americans losing access to health care is a bridge too far. We will not concede to that. We will let you have all these other things in your shitty budget, but you have to cover that. Republicans said no, have basically been on vacation for 40 days.
We should probably explain as well, the one thing that the Democrats wanted was to ensure people wouldn't lose their health care. That was their demand. These people, these Americans can't lose their, and I think it's to do with Obamacare, and people are talking about, there's examples of people who pay $500 a month for their health insurance going to $2,300 a month. And that's all the Democrats had. And they were just like, of course, the GOP was saying, well, you just pass it and we promise that we won't do that. That's literally their position. And the Dems said no. So the big holdup from the Dems was the Democrats not wanting Americans to lose their health care. And the GOP refused to buckle. And finally, I will show you this because the right are also saying, ha, Trump won, literally, I'll show you shortly. They caved.
And then this weekend, 8 Democrats decided to cross the line and go ahead and agree to this bullshit. Specifically, these 8 who...
I don't know if Fetterman can be called a Democrat anymore. You know, after his stroke, he basically became Republican, quite literally.
Incidentally, not a single one of them is up for re-election in 2026.
Oh, there you go.
That is so very convenient. Now, it's not completely over. There still has to be another vote, and there's rumors that even some of those who said yes now are not going to. There's even some Republicans, allegedly, who may be saying no. But, like, what was the point? There is no show of strength. There is no, like, what the fuck is the Democratic Party doing? Anything, any resistance, even if you lose every single battle, just to see you fight, would be something. I can at least appreciate that Ro Khanna's out here calling for Schumer to resign. Not that Chuck Schumer told those people to do that. As I understand it, he's upset that they crossed the line, but they ain't afraid of him. They ain't worried about it. They just had to hold the line. They just had to hold the fucking line.
So you got the point. You got the point from Tizzy. And the thing I wanted to show you is the right are now basically going, ha, we won, quite literally.
Why does he look like a Lego man?
Because this is
Lego here.
This is his Lego avatar. But I mean, you would sort of almost expect someone to go, well, it was good that the Democrats finally saw sense. They're not saying that. The right aren't saying that. Have a listen.
Well, folks, at long last, well over a month, it appears that we are now nearing the beginning of the end of the government shutdown, because last night, Democrats in the Senate caved. They gave their approval, 60-40
Caved.
vote. to moving forward with the procedural vote, which would move toward the end of the government shutdown. And make no mistake, Democrats lost. President Trump wins, the Republicans win, Democrats themselves know that they lost. Now,
there you go. So that's the right the right's narrative. They've got no fucks to give. They're like, haha, we won, you lost. And so those 8 Democrats have just given the win to Trump, who's now going to spend the next 6 months going, I always told you it was big and beautiful. It's such fake news that they were doing. And they've given him a pulpit to stand up probably for the next, well, I think the next one's in January. They have to raise the setting again. But yeah, it's just sickening. What I agree with Tizzy. What was the point? What was the point in holding the line for 40 days?
I don't think we can be too harsh on Ben Shapiro. I mean, famously, he's a man that's probably never made his wife come. So maybe we shouldn't be too mean to him. He's got a lot on his plate. I want to read just a very short post from a federal worker that I know that has been on, obviously, holiday this whole time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to put it up on screen because I don't want to dox her or anything like that. But
or him, her or him. It might be him. We don't know.
Them
her or him, them.
Them. And they say paying bills using your savings is really depressing. And then I take a gander at my health plan costs for next year to make myself even more depressed. Yeah, apparently, I'm expected to pay up to $24,000 US. That's deductible premiums, maximum out of pocket.
So $500 a week
to cover me and my partner.
$500 a week, people. Think about that. Whānau living in New Zealand complaining about our health system. They're paying $500 or part thereof per week to get healthcare. If they don't use it, if they don't use that healthcare, they're paying $500 a week to have it prepared to be used in case they need it.
And just if that doesn't sound stressful or batshit insane enough, both of them are cancer survivors.
Ugh.
And their partner,
pre-consisting.
Their partner, pre-existing.
Pre-existing.
Their partner, the drugs, the infusion that their partner has to take is the thing that is holding the cancer in check. Not reversing it, won't reverse. Holding it in check. So if they can't cover that, no cancer drugs.
Sheesh.
They end their post by going, Jesus fucking Christ, I hate it here.
Haere mai. Come. Welcome home. Come. Hang out. Just so I know, no, I wasn't talking to you, Nala. She looked at me when I said come. Do you hear that crunching? She's got a new bone. Can you hear that, or is it all right? It's not too annoying?
Put the mic right next to it. We have Nala ASMR.
I'm too far away. Too far away. Oh,
fundraising now for Nala mic.
Well, I could hook one up, but we don't have one set up. All right. Yeah, shocking. Another good news story for you coming up next. Finally, we'll do good, bad all through the night. Probably not. We'll probably go good, bad, bad. And let's get to some of these. Apologies, we haven't got to them before now, but we were on a roll. Citizen Gold says remaining days at most 403 forbidden. Arvids says, did you message Te Ururoa or Hone? I said Hone because I spoke to Hone. That's why I messaged, because I thought Hone would be good to come on and talk, because he has split from the then Māori party to form his own thing. But we're going to hear from Te Ururoa Flavell. Sean, I need you to enter like Stone Cold. That music sounds very Stone Cold, coldy. P.S. Love you all. Thanks for all y'all's mahi. That music for that theme that I played is actually one of the themes when we had our competition. This was the theme that was basically in second place. And nice. I bought it.
That's
I paid
why it's familiar.
Yeah.
That's why it's familiar.
Yeah. So this is actually the one that came second. And we came to a deal and I paid him for it to use in this show. So we're not going to get kicked for this. This is our music. So we can play this. This is what we play all day, every day. We'll just do a loop underneath us, all show, every show. So yeah, that's why that sounds good, because it's real. That's real music. That's real rock music. And I think I'll go look up the gentleman's name. It eludes me at the moment. Oh, we did that one, didn't we? Oh, no, another one. Under Mark Mitchell, police recruitment and in general has been a joke. Under him, this stretch has been atrocious. Look up Constable Summer Smith. Okay, we will do that. Sure, 15 millimeter. You're going nuts tonight, mate. Mate or mate. I'll be a mate because you're from St. Peters. I went to St. Peters as well. Much earlier than 2007, though. Sheesh. Chewie, correct. Close ranks, protect your own. Yuck. Yeah, it's talking about the police. JC and the Pigeon Cat says, can I just say I have been super impressed with the rise in left media in New Zealand lately, and BHN has been integral to that. Oh, thanks. Thanks, team. Love your work, Sean. I know, I was also going to say as well, and I don't mean to be sort of cheesy and do this as a real big push, but sometimes it's good just to be honest and to say thanks to our patrons, because what our patrons enable us to do is to produce BHN, Craig Rennie's Locked Out, Gary Payinda's The Front Line, and now we're going to be doing or redoing or restarting or resetting The Collective. So we're a good return on investment, and I did this before because I said to y'all we were going to try and get to 500, attempt to get to 500 by Christmas. We're at 478, Chewie. We're 22 away. 22 away.
So close.
And look, I don't want to do this like a, hey, let's make it to 500. But if you're someone who has been sitting there thinking about how to support us and wanting to support us and
let's
come
fucking
on board,
go.
But in all seriousness, only if you can do it for 12 months. Like Chewie talks about this government giving themselves a sugar hit. Like, a sugar hit's lovely every now and again, but what actually works better for us to think about. So that's the fourth. We've got 4 podcasts now. Is the 5th podcast, whatever that's going to be, is what's sustainable and what we know is coming 6 months from now. So just a little push. If you've been thinking about it, patreon.com/Big Hairy News to be a part of what we're doing. And thank you for those kind. And look, this is where we be honest and hopefully don't sound accurate. You're right. BHN has been a big part of that. And that's not necessarily about us. It's about the whole community. Because without the community, including the patrons as a part of the community, but the community in general, that these other groups wouldn't have the same place. Craig Rennie's podcast is getting 10,000 views or downloads an episode. And Craig's brilliant, and he's got a brilliant profile. But we know that without the BHN platform to kickstart him, he might not be doing quite that yet. So it's absolutely true. And we can say that both humbly and accurately. So thank you for your kind words, JC. And yep, if you want to be a patron, patreon.com/Big Hairy News. Overred Rover says an Inspector General is being appointed. Yeah, I heard a few. I lost the words as I was saying, but I watched that whole press conference.
I was trying to find the right words, and
but
I
the
felt
word,
like a man falling down a ladder.
The word independent was used several times. So it sounds like the government's doing the right thing now. But I do, like when I said before, to the highest level, you do kind of expect the government to go, and this all happened under Labour. They didn't do that. Now, did they not do that because that would be inappropriate and wrong? Or did they not do that because, these guys have been at the helm for 2 years and some of this has escalated in that 2 years? I don't know. I'm nervous about this government when it seems like they're doing the right thing when it comes to getting the right people on board to investigate. So I'm going to observe, and I'm going to test and verify. We will test if they're doing the right things, and then we will verify if they are or aren't. It's in the ballot. It says, bring on an independent commissioner against corruption. This would clean up things all across New Zealand, from councils to government to the police. Like, gosh, look at all these super chats. Holy crapola. Sorry, team.
Oh, damn.
Tamara is also 100% correct about the police. Tamara. Chewie, that's not right. Mark
was
Mitchell
a T name. Like I said, names are gone.
Tom Clancy character, Jack. Is it Jack? James, sorry. Name's gone, James. IPC have named former Commissioner Andrew Costa, former Deputy Commissioner Tanya Kuda, and former Assistant Commissioner Paul Basham. Oh. Costa has been stood down from his current role. Okay. Wow. Yeah, it's big, eh? Danger of Mouse, I've always been on Tamitha's side, of course. She speaks truth. Arvid says, BHN doing what the cock can. Think long term. Mm-hmm. I feel uncomfortable when I say that. First time listening from Dunedin and loving it. Thanks, guys. Well, Linda, have we got some news for you listening from Dunedin? Friday the 5th of December, we are going to be doing a Dunedin meetup. And it's going to be a supercharged Dunedin meetup because you'll also have Craig Rennie there. You'll also have Gary Payinda there. You'll have Emily there. You'll have Magenta there. We are all going to be there at a meetup on Friday evening, the 5th of December. So if this is your first time listening from Dunedin, Linda, man, fill your boots Friday night. We'll give you Friday the 5th of December, right? For those who haven't put two and two together yet, that's our Christmas birthday weekend when we're bringing everyone to town to celebrate the year of BHN. And we're going to do an event the night of. Give you more details over the next couple of days, but put it in your diaries if you're in or around Dunedin. And then this one here from Wahiki, a Māori podcast would be good. Lots of disinformation circulating at the moment around TPM. Yeah, I agree with you, Wahiki. And we did have that conversation going on with Tanya Waikato, and I think it's fair to say that you're probably all aware that her time has got exponentially busier, and that just hasn't come to pass, literally just through scheduling. Yep. And we've also heard from the disability community that we could look at doing something there as well. So these are always on the boil and up for conversation. Right, Chewie, I think we haven't actually, we've done officially half of one story and we're at 5 to 10. So
Okay, look, I just, before we move on, just real quickly, I just want to put something on the ideas board that while there is talk about what is going on at the police right at the tippy top, if someone uses the phrase "a few bad apples," I want you all to remember the rest of the phrase.
100%.
Spoil the rest.
Yeah, so a few bad apples don't mean if you remove them, that's okay. A few bad apples mean everyone's tainted. Think about that really carefully. That's the saying, right? It's not a few bad apples get removed and all the rest are okay. It's a few bad apples spoil the rest. So the rest are spoiled, right? It doesn't mean the rest are fine. And sorry, I cut you off so many times, Chewie. I'll shut up. It was your point.
That's what I was just going to say. Think about those guys going through police college at the moment and what messages they will pull out of whatever happens here. People are either going to get away with it, and they get the message that, oh, look, shit, this is all loosey-goosey. I can get away with all sorts of shit. Like I can get my Killer Bees boyfriend off the hook. Because that's something that's gone on. That was that reference from the chat before. Former Constable Summer Smith pleads guilty to charges of leaking police intelligence to New Zealand's most comically named gang, the Killer Bees. So, clear the rot. Nobody's going to trust the cops when they're full of rot.
Yep. It's such an important thing to remember. Oh, Peter's chat's just come in. I'm going to lose my fucking mind if we start that conversation again.
No, he's wrong.
He's
wrong.
No, I know he's wrong.
You're often right.
You're wrong too. You're both wrong.
You're wrong.
You're both wrong. And that's really important when people use that saying to mean, oh, there's only one bad one. No, that's not what the saying means. It means one bad one makes all of them bad. Spoils the bunch. So the bunch is spoiled. Think about your fruit being spoiled. One bad egg, one bad apple, spoils the rest. Look, before we go, we'll just give credit because, thank you for the super chat. But this is, Chewie, I'm not going to talk about how smitten apples are the best for the next 15 minutes. We're going to accept it and we're going to move on. Okay? Not jazz. Done. No more conversation. Thank you for the super chat. Good news story.
And Zach, he's gone.
Good news story. Good news story when you see Winston basically saying to Luxon, there won't be any asset sales under my watch. And by the way, Luxon, your economy isn't going well. And then Luxon saying, fuck, he's old. Good news day when you get that conversation going on.
Should we sell the family silver? The sale of state assets is a big issue for New Zealanders. And about a year out from the election, the coalition battle lines are drawn. Winston Peters today hitting out strongly against any moves by National to sell government assets. But the Prime Minister says no such plans are on the table yet. Business correspondent Jason Walls has more.
A roar and a rumble. These just some of the commercial assets worth close to $100 billion that the government owns. And Winston Peters wants to keep it that way.
You will not build your wealth by flogging off the savings of a past generation.
He's fired up at the suggestion.
That's pretty good, Winston. Think about what he just said. You will not build your wealth by flogging off savings of the last generation. That's pretty good. I haven't heard it described quite as clearly as that before, but kudos, broken clock and all that. It's pretty good.
Question of a national campaign on asset sales at next year's election.
And all we need to have is a conversation that sort of says, well, is this the optimal deployment of this capital that benefits our citizens the best?
Optimal deployment of this capital. Whatever.
Comes after the Treasury warned the government's not bringing in.
Do you ever wonder why Luxon won't come on our show? I've never really understood it, Chewie. Just throwing it out there,
in enough money to fund its spending, pointing out the books have yet to recover from the COVID era. To bridge that gap, it suggested considering the sale of some assets. Candidates could include the likes of Transpower, Met Service, TVNZ, and the government's shares in Air New Zealand. Winston Peters pushing back.
Oh, they could have written that 45 years ago. That's the kind of drivel they were writing then, and they're still writing it now.
A recent One News Varian poll asked Kiwi voters if...
it's so hard, because when Winston's right, he's quite likeable. He's basically telling the National Party to piss off back to the 1980s. That one comment, that one moment. Anyway.
If this was my only frame of reference for the man, we completely agree.
Yeah, 100%.
They supported the idea of greater privatisation. 56% said that they were opposed, and 32% said that they supported the idea. The rest said they didn't know. The Prime Minister seemingly unfazed by Peters' stance.
He has a lot of entrenched views on a lot of different things that aren't a surprise to me or you. He's been here 50 years, for goodness sake.
Labour.
A lot of entrenched views. He's been here 50 years, for goodness sake. Sorry, so this is not longer, I don't even know him. Who is this one? I don't even know him. You're now saying he's been here 50 years. So he's got entrenched views. So old man shouts at clouds. He's got entrenched views. And he's been here 50 years, for goodness sake. I mean, come on.
I mean, look, they're both right.
Yeah.
I'm cheering for both teams to have fun in this fight, because I don't want to pick a side. Like that. This is amazing. This is your former deputy prime minister, and you go, look at how old he is. Like Winston might be old, but he's right. You the only ideas you've got are from the National Party caucus bad ideas cupboard.
Yeah.
You open it, it sounds like Rob Muldoon reading from Rocky Horror Show going, have you tried asset sales? You could try that again.
Because we're going back on track. Isn't that they're saying going back on track? It's something like that, I think.
Going back on track. Let's sell the tracks. For fuck's sake.
The Prime Minister seemingly unfazed by Peters' stance.
He has a lot of entrenched views on a lot of different things that aren't a surprise to me or you. He's been here 50 years, for goodness sake.
Labour smelling blood in the water.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. I mean, imagine what the conversations are like behind closed.
Yeah, can we just say, we've talked about Te Pāti Māori this week and how it hasn't been a good look for them and it's made the narrative kind of hard. But I'll tell you what, Luxon and Winston, you want to take some of the pressure off this man who's getting questions every day as to what about Te Pāti Māori? What about Te Pāti Māori? You guys arguing openly in public is a fantastic way to help change the narrative for Labour. Well done, lads.
In the water.
Goodness gracious. I mean, imagine.
Sorry, Joe.
Goodness gracious. This would have been an excellent chance for Chippy to wade out and sort of go, look, I don't think either of these guys are ready for government.
Water.
Goodness gracious. I mean, imagine what the conversations are like behind closed doors. I mean, if that's what they're saying about each other in public, they can't be getting on particularly well in private, can they?
Siding with Peters over asset sales, but not much else.
Even a stopped clock is right twice a day.
Hipkins also raising an eyebrow at Peters' analysis of how well the coalition is running the economy.
We have taken too long to turn the economy around. Admitting it to the public is not a bad idea. And we'll just have to try harder and be better.
In the House, the Prime Minister trying to put up a united front.
But he and I are very, very cognizant of what our pronouns are, and they are we.
But today, perhaps a bit more distance between the bedfellows than usual. Jason Walls, One News.
That is a shocking attempt at lightheartedness. It is it Mothra versus Godzilla? Let them fight.
Yeah,
it's absolutely what it is. Yeah, let them fight.
So my reaction to Luxon talking about his pronouns is why I can never go in the Parliament gallery. Like I'd be gone so fucking quick.
It is a delightful thing to watch, and pardon the pun, but I don't know how well that headline will age. He's been here 50 years, for goodness sake. So you're saying that you're picking the old and decrepit to form a government. So you're suggesting that he's entrenched. We all know what that means once people get elderly. They get too stubborn to move because they're entrenched in their ways. And that's why he went on, as Big Albie says, went first on Deputy Prime Minister so he can start chucking toys before the run-up to the next election. Absolutely. It's a glorious thing to watch. I will also say, though, enjoy this today, whānau, because tomorrow it'll go back to, it'll be yesterday's, what do they say? Today's fish and chip wrapper, yesterday's news. Because they'll start ignoring it and talking around it and yada yada. I mean, Winston did this just a couple of weeks ago on Twitter, didn't he? That's the joke he was trying to make. When Luxon wanted to take credit for getting a deal in Asia. Says Winston. Yeah. It's going to be interesting. I don't know. Have you ever known two people who needed to be close to each other but hated one another? Like two classmates or two workmates, or like a brother and a sister at a Christmas dinner or something like that? That's what we're going to be watching. But there's 3 of them for the next 12 months. It's going to be a good viewing. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good end for us. I mean, they could very much easily still be hating one another and in government next time around. But I guess if nothing else, that'll be our upside. 99.99% of things will be downside, but the 0.001% upside is these 3 arseholes who hate each other have to continue to work together for another 3 years. Yeah,
I just want Winston to respond by going, I might be here 50 years, but at least I've got my hair.
Oh, very good. Do you want to do the chat? Just a whole bunch of more super chats here. What's going on, whānau?
A few bad potatoes also spoil the rest. Yes, the Irish version of that saying.
A few bad potatoes. Potatoes. Sorry, I went into Popeye there for a second. I'm not entirely sure why.
Ages ago, I asked for a list of all the bullshit stuff affected by this government. I said not ADD, solely to avoid being told to do it myself. There is, in our Discord, a very extensive list called the Fail Trail.
Oh, right.
Our Discord have not forgotten to list off what this government has fucked up. It's long.
That's good, because if we get a chance to interview any of them next year, we'll be sourcing information from Discord, then it sounds like.
Yep. Rose apples are king.
Piss off.
Jazz apples are the best.
Oh, We've
lost control of the chat. Yeah. Just zap. Winston's moderation is why I'm happy New Zealand first are in government.
Okay, let's just go.
You're not wrong, but
yeah, because
let's to pay.
If we look at nothing else but rail-enabled ferries and not selling state assets, it's something you can hang your hat on.
Yeah,
something might not be a lot, but it's something.
But fuck, I wish the price wasn't. We're gonna talk about banning trans people from the bathroom or sports
penis police
or
are in town
existing or. All of this stuff, or what they did to Ben from the Greens, like that was disgrace. Like that shouldn't be a price we have to pay for someone occasionally having a good idea.
Yeah, agreed.
Just try doing this stuff, Winston. This stuff, it's populist. It's a fucking winner. Put the other side, the cooker shit, back in the bed cupboard.
Yeah.
Don't open it.
Yeah.
R.E. Luxon, we ain't got time for stuttering lie. The reason Luxon can't come on is because our guests have spines. The spineless need not apply. Don't want to hear, I guess, Luxo call TPM messy again.
Yeah, true.
Good point. And like we didn't have to wait long. They're going to be at each other's necks come February.
Yeah, and just remember, prior to the last election, Luxon, well, a three-headed beast, Te Pāti Māori and the Greens and Labour, whilst he then formed a three-headed beast. So now he has to go Te Pāti Māori, the Greens and Labour, and two independents. It's like, come on.
Akadak says, if it's going to come down to three-way gladiatorial combat, I reckon my money's still on Winnie.
Yeah, probably right.
Yeah, maybe. Look, before we got into this story, and it was just that screen grab of the two of them on the backdrop, I still was holding out that I had somehow missed a story about both of them dying in an unlikely cafeteria accident. So, there could have been an in memoriam. A man's allowed to hope.
Anything else? Are we moving on?
Peter's just come in there with another opinion on apples. Sorry, just kidding. Spinoff had a good article on the biscuit tin and New Zealand First. 100%. I don't know if you've seen this, Pat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really good piece that they just keep on putting these performative headline grabbing members bill in the biscuit tin. And it's just to grab headlines, and it fucking works for them. The media fall for it every fucking time.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Speaking of the media, biggest news story of the week has probably been what's happening, in New Zealand, with Te Pāti Māori and two former Te Pāti Māori MPs, now two independent MPs. A lot of conversations have been had on this show and people talking to us and giving us suggestions about having, Māori voices in and amongst this conversation, which is important, which we appreciate and agree with. And so we are going to actually have a listen to a particular Māori voice in this, Te Ururoa Flavell, who was speaking to Herald Now this morning. Former Māori Party leader, I'm pretty sure was in government, or in parliament, I should say, from about 2005 to about 2017. About 2011 was when Hone Harawira split away from the then Māori Party. So he is someone who has also been around the Māori Party kind of splitting apart for various reasons. And he has some really interesting things to say about the current state of what's going on with Te Pāti Māori. This is only like 3 minutes. They didn't give him a lot of time, but it's pretty clear where Te Ururoa fits in that 3 minutes.
What's your take? The process that the party's followed here, what do you make of it?
Yeah, very clunky. On the face of it, there's a number of things that probably be...
It did sound like he said pretty cunty. I don't think you did, but it did sound like he said, yeah, it's pretty cunty. Listen.
Play it back.
Yeah, very clunky. On the face of it, there's a number of things that probably be of a concern. To hear that two of the MPs weren't even involved in any part of that process or the discussion had with them with respect to what was going to happen, not necessarily talking to Te Tai Tokerau and having them involved in the decision, albeit they are a part of the whole infrastructure. That's been confirmed by the electoral chair. Waikato were waiting to Wednesday to hear the discussions from the iwi leaders, and they abstained at that point in time, believing that there was going to be a hui with the iwi leaders meeting. The iwi leaders meeting itself, conflicts of interest at the electoral level. I mean, there's a number of things there across the board, including actually the announcement made yesterday by the MPs. I mean, one would have thought that would be an issue that would be addressed and spoken to by the leadership of the party wing versus the MPs themselves. So a lot of concerns around the process, Ryan. So yeah.
Well, what's driving that, Te Ururoa? Is the elephant in the room here John Tamahere and his seeming stranglehold on the party?
Well, I don't think it's the elephant in the room in the sense that pretty much everybody, every commentator has made that a clear...
Interesting, yeah? Interesting. So Te Ururoa has kind of pointed back to JT. It is just an opinion, but a lot of people are saying the media is being unfair to Te Pāti Māori right now, but former leader of the Māori Party here kind of feels like he's saying that JT is probably one of the issues here, which is interesting. And it's not my opinion putting out there. I'm just repeating back basically what he said.
Since that pretty much everybody, every commentator has made that a clear judgment on their part, and even members of the party have, drawn that out. And it all started, of course, with Eru Kapakingi, and it wasn't just, I'm sure, just from the back of his statement, but probably issues that have developed over a period of time. So the element of leadership is a key point in the discussion. It must be, because the decisions are made or according to leadership, whether they be political or the party, giving some clear lines to those involved, allowing them to make some decisions. And it seems on the face of it that some of that has not happened in this case.
So where to from here, Te Ururoa? I mean, it's not like this hasn't happened within Te Pāti Māori ranks before, with Hone Harawira going to set up Internet Mana, or Mana then Internet Mana, I think it was, back in 2011. What happens from here? Do you think that Kapakingi and Ferris should try and get back in, try and follow that process, try and get back in the party, maybe see some change to leadership? Or is the split that's happening kind of just now happening?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've been basically booted out of the party, so the idea of them sort of trying to get back into the party is probably a non-issue in the sense that it probably else a facilitated process that brings people together. And I suppose that's the sad part about this too, Ryan, is that part of the Constitution is you have consensus decision making, which is all about not about the votes per se, but about having people discuss things, stay at it, keep working at it for the purposes of having kotahitanga and unity. And this hasn't happened in this case. What am I anxious about? I'm anxious about for the fallout, first of all. There's been huge fallout on social media all over the show. There's not one comment that I've found.
Yeah, that's true as well. Like we saw in some of our posts on Facebook, in and amongst all the racism, that there did seem to be a split. People who would seem to have identified themselves as potentially Māori seat voters on the Māori roll, it was 50-50 supporting and saying I'm not voting for them. So I think however you look at this, even if you think the party was right or if you think the independents were right, whichever way, it's damaged the... Because what's going to happen now, Chewie, is if Kapakingi and Ferris run as independents, then Labour will win those seats, because it'll split the vote and Labour will win those seats. So it has caused an issue.
Is anything good?
Sorry, Joey. Should we get to the end? There's only 30 seconds.
No. Roll on and I'll form.
Come out of this process, number one. Number two, I'm anxious about the election coming up in another year's time. I'm anxious about the fact that there are people here that are involved that have given a commitment to the Māori Party over the last couple of years or so, and prior to, that find themselves on the outer, not only as MPs but also as electorates. I mean, I'm anxious about the whole scenario, and I'm hoping that some common sense might prevail, because it's all going downhill, especially if people are starting to think about lawyers and what has and has not been done in terms of the process.
Yeah, there you go. And the Herald, Chewie. Yes, sir, you formulated some amazing thoughts, I understand.
Look, everybody... In this Wookie's opinion, everybody involved in this needs to take a step back and a big fucking breath and decide what the real point of this is. Like during Rawiri's press conference the other day, he mentioned multiple times that the mission is a one-term government. And I agree with him. But clearly some people, maybe on both sides of the split, need to park their egos, take a breath, and work out how they're best going to do this. As you've pointed out, for the guys that are going independent that have been booted out of the party, are you going to accomplish that thing? Is that the most important thing at the moment? Like, clearly, supporters of the Māori Party aren't happy with how this is going, whatever side that they're taking. It's drawn focus away from their mission. It's given some horrible racists a whole bunch of rocks to throw. And we could do without all of it, to be honest. Do I think that John Tamahiri is someone that can maybe review what's going on and park a little bit of ego? I don't think he's capable of it. From what I've seen here, I don't think Ferris can either.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
like,
love to be wrong on either one of these. There
well,
needs to be an olive branch somewhere.
The other thing about that, though, is then you hear Debbie say, but for what they're trying to achieve, and from being knocked out of Parliament in 2017, that JT is the man who's done the job. And just to reiterate what I just said about if Takata Ferris runs as an independent, he had a nearly 3,000 seat majority, yeah, and really there's no one else really apart from Labour and Te Pāti Māori. But in Te Tai Tokoro, it's a 500 seat majority. So, Mariamano Kapakingi, independent, Te Pāti Māori candidate there as well. Labour walks through the middle. Now, good, bad, and different, I don't know, but I think that's the reality when you see split the vote. I mean, that's what people thought would happen with the mayoralty in New York once Cuomo and Mamdani ran, that they might split the vote, but they didn't. Mamdani just obviously overrun, but often it does. Often it splits the vote. If you've got Te Pāti Māori voters right now who aren't happy, then they could well go with the independent, but the Labour voters will stick with Labour, and then they up the middle. So this could have long-reaching impacts for Te Pāti Māori, or for another kind of Māori political party that may spring up from this, like Mana did. Remembering that the Māori party was Tariana Turia splitting from Labour. So there's always parties that grow from, within another party, then come out.
Look, we can tell from our own chat that there are supporters of both sides of this split, and a lot of anguish that it's happening. So, hopefully that message is echoed back to Te Pāti Māori. And over the recess, they're able to get this back, stuff the toothpaste back in the tube and get it together.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Alex here says, just wanted to say that National and ACT, would be toast if they negotiate with Winston Peters and disagree with banning the sale of fireworks, given Luxon and Seymour had said fireworks is a freedom issue. I don't remember they'll be toast, but it's just Winston's got that. I think that's one of those biscuit things, Chewie. Hold your finger up to the air. Oh, it seems like 10 years ago we didn't want to ban fireworks, but now there seems to be a feeling of banning fireworks. So they pull a random a policy out of left field that no one's been talking about, and people are like, "Oh, yeah." So if we want to protect the animals, we have to vote for New Zealand first. That's what they go. And just to final nail in the coffin is Pacific Rose from Kiwi Skirt. Just done.
It's not a bad choice.
You're going to make me talk about Smitten now? Smitten apples are something special, and I don't think you can buy them anywhere else. Okay, do me a favour, whānau. Have a look in your local supermarket tomorrow, wherever you are, and see if there's Smitten apple. Smitten, I'm smitten with that apple, because when I was last in Auckland, looked for them. They weren't in the supermarket, but they are here. They are crunchy and sweet and juicy and delicious, and I will not abide by anyone else saying any other kind of apple is better. And if you've never had a Smitten, then come to Dunedin and try them. They're good.
Trying to remember the name of my favourite apple.
You're trying to, old man.
Yeah.
Are you entrenched? You've been here fucking 50 years.
Look, when Winston first went,
you like
ambrosia?
You like ambrosia?
They just had one apple. And it was the same apple that Eve took.
You know what it was?
That was the apple that he was familiar with.
If Winston Peters was an apple, he'd be a Granny Smith. Sour and bitter, and Winston Peters is the Granny Smith of politicians. Just
every now and then there's a Marlboro Red crushed up in the middle of it.
We've got one more story. Look, we'll get to it, because I was going to say it's the most important story there.
Okay.
It's not.
I can't remember the name of the apple. I'll tell you one apple that does suck, like powerfully so. The Red Delicious. Now that's a marketing failure. That is just wrong. Red Delicious. They suck. Oh, Such a lie in apple form.
Chewie, no, we can't carry on because I don't feel that you'll be able to sleep tonight because it'll be 3 a.m. and you're ambrosia or whatever it is. You'll remember what it is. So
a bunch of ass.
We will go and have a look, and I will ask you. Funnily enough, I wonder if it's because they're the most popular. When you go onto the website for New World, Smitten is number 1. Just putting it out there. Eve, Royal Gala, Heartland Eve, Ambrosia, Granny Smith, Ambrosia, Jazz, the Jazz apples. No, it's still none of those.
No, it's not. It's not always there. There was one that I found. It's not always there, but it's really fucking good, and I can't remember what it's called. Literally ruined me for every other apple.
Why would I look up apple? Is there a one for dishwashing? How did apple
scented? Yeah, look at that fresh raspberry and apple. That means you can drink it, children. Go hard. If it smells good, it's probably got good mouthfeel.
If we were on a radio station right now, that would be a broadcasting complaint, but we're not.
Oh, got it. Thank you. The Swatango. That's the best one. That is the best apple. Bar none. Thank you. Names have not been my strength tonight.
This is the second time in the past 3 or 4 months that naming apples has overtaken the show. We're a serious news show. We've won awards for being current events shows. Maybe next year's podcast awards needs to be us talking about apples and nothing else, and we'll see how we go then.
Wouldn't that be amazing? We submit our best show of the year, and it's just us going, it's the Swatango, and fuck the Red Delicious. And look, we've got a super chat from the chat. Oh, this guy's a fucking idiot. And show of the year.
I feel like this would be a lovely time to finish the show, but we are going to give Chippy his dues because he was on the Herald show this morning talking about a few things of interest. Because he does get to talk about asset sales, and also I think, like we talked about last night, the conversation around Labour and Te Pāti Māori now, for Chippy to be a little bit more distant today is okay than him being more distant 2 or 3 months ago because there wasn't the reason. But today there is that angst around Te Pāti Māori with what's going on. So I think it's okay. But the first thing is they were talking about the CGT, the capital gains tax. An interesting question, Chewie, because we've been thinking and talking about, how do we treat this like a business because it's now getting taxed like a business, the profits on a business. And so questions around claiming back expenses. Good question. You got a rental property and you spend money on it. Can you then claim that back like you could if it was a business expense? And also, why aren't we adjusting for inflation? Let's hear what Chippy had to say.
Good morning.
Right, let's start with the capital gains tax situation first off. Are you going to allow people to claim, let's say you make a profit on selling your house, are you going to allow people a deduction if they have improved the value of the home?
Well, if they're selling their family home, they'll never pay capital gains tax anyway. So there won't be anything to deduct because there won't be any tax
it's a good answer,
payable.
Even though
family homes are exempt.
It was a badly asked question.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about if you have a second home. If you have a batch, if you have a rental property that's part of your retirement portfolio and you spend money doing it up, making sure that the tenants are happy and that they're well looked after, can you claim that against any on paper increase in value or realised increase in value once you sell it?
Yes, improvement costs will be able to be deductible as they are now under the Bright Line test. So we would mirror the current provisions under the Bright Line test. So at the moment, if you buy a house, you hold it for less than 2 years, but in that period of time you do it up, the money you spend doing it up can be deducted against any tax that you would otherwise need to pay. And the same will apply for under the capital gains tax.
And
now comes stupid question from like painting and stuff. He's just said improvements are claimable. This next question is pointless. I will play it for you.
Includes painting the house, building a fence, redoing the
kitchen.
kitchen.
Improvements.
It basically includes money that you're spending on improving the value of the property.
Okay. And what about inflation adjustment? A lot of people have criticised you because it hasn't. You're basically just going to tax. There's nothing to do with the fact that our values might increase because of inflation.
We are going to no, we're not allowing for an adjustment for inflation. Ultimately, property prices go, well, because these are taxing sort of, if you like, unearned gains. These are property prices going up by the landlord not doing anything other than just holding on to the property. And that would somewhat defeat the purpose of the capital gains tax in the first place.
Do you think you put landlords off owning properties and put the squeeze on tenants again?
Ultimately,
yeah. What it could do, in all seriousness, it could cause people to hold on to properties, because there could be some investors out there, excuse me, that will go, oh, I'll just wait for National to get back in and they cancel this and I'll sell it then. So there is a chance that there'll be fewer homes on the market for this, or pardon me, what may happen is investors might just buy and sell between investors, because I'm assuming, like, when you buy a business, it's plus GST, if any, and if you're selling it as a business, it kind of pluses and minuses itself. You don't have to actually do anything. There's probably some scheme like that you don't have to pay or do have to pay if it is owned by a business or something. I could be wrong with that, but you could definitely see fewer people selling their houses, their spare house, because they don't want to pay tax and they want to roll the dice on whenever the next Conservative government gets in to cancel it. That's a possibility.
If investors end up spending their money in other areas and productive businesses and more first home buyers get an opportunity to buy their first home as a result, that'll be a good outcome.
Do Kiwi investors switch their investments from property to productive Kiwi businesses, or do they invest in American shares?
But that's what they're trying to get them to do, Ryan. You're asking the question, do they do this? Meaning, like, would they really do that? Well, we haven't had this in place before to give them the incentive to do that. That's what this is about.
I think over time we might see some movement. International evidence suggests that the introduction of a capital gains tax doesn't result in any major shifts overnight, but the signal that we're sending is over time we want to see more investment in productive enterprise rather than in inflating New Zealand house prices, which has the effect of potentially forcing a whole generation of New Zealanders out of home ownership. If we continue the way we're going, within the next couple of decades, less than half of New Zealanders will own their own home. That is not the New Zealand dream. I think New Zealanders should be able to own the home that they live in.
There you go. So that's the clip number one. I've got two other clips to play. They're both quite a bit shorter. Do you want to speak to that, or should we just keep rolling, Chewie?
I just wonder who Ryan Bridge shares his brain cell with. Like, does he get it? Just he definitely doesn't have full-time custody. But look, the whole thing is of this is, it is not an overnight fix, right? It is a gentle encouragement that if you want to make money, maybe you put the money somewhere else. Get out of the housing market, cool the prices down.
Yeah.
Or at least slow the rise a little bit, because no one wants to absolutely nuke the housing market, and put money into something productive here in New Zealand, ideally. But it's an even playing field. Why is housing the only place where your dividends aren't taxed? It makes no sense.
And this idea, this kind of Pollyanna wide-eyed question, but will New Zealanders do that? Will they change how they invest money? The answer to that is, well, we've never really done this before. So once we do it, we assume they will, because that's what they're going to now be incentivized to do. But we'll answer your question in 5 years, and then we'll have the answer for you. But we want to try and make
what
that's
they
what
do
we're doing.
now, Ryan. We know what they do now, which is hoard housing. And we've looked at that over the last 40, 50 years, and it's put us where we are now, which is not good for the majority of New Zealanders. It's not good.
All right, the next conversation, they're talking about the relationship between Labour and Te Pāti Māori. See what I did? I rickrolled you. I rickrolled you. I did it.
Let's go back to the apples now. Right. I'm going to read you the history of the Swatango.
No, we're not. Okay, so this is talking about Labour and their relationship with Te Pāti Māori and where it's at right now.
What about the Te Pāti Māori situation? Rawiri said he's having good chats with you. Chris, what have you guys chatted about?
But largely, I mean, he rang me yesterday to tell me what they'd decided around expelling their 2 MPs. I'm not sure you can say those are good constructive chats. It was largely him telling me what they were doing. I think, they're a long way away from having those kind of conversations. And we're still a year away from the election. Ultimately, voters get to decide who gets to have those conversations after the election. And Te Pāti Māori still have to convince voters to re-elect them, let alone, and they're certainly in no position to make that case at the moment. So they need to focus.
I think that this tone is okay now. Like we've talked about this before. This tone 6 weeks ago, when there wasn't this sort of upheaval, is misspent. And remember what we said. The yardstick was, if you see a headline and you think that Luxon has said it, then Chippy shouldn't be saying it. Luxon's not saying this. Luxon's saying these guys are irrelevant. What a bunch of losers. Why would they ever be? What do they add? So actually, Chippy's being quite moderate in the he's not even being critical in this situation. And this response today, as a headline in the newspaper, you wouldn't read it and go, oh, did Luxon say that? Because Luxon's being much more effusive, much more aggressive and much more patronising than this response. So this response today is okay. I don't know if I'm entirely on board. I don't really want to stick the boot in, but is okay based on what's happening today.
And they're certainly in no position to make that case at the moment. So they need to focus on sorting themselves out first.
Yeah. So what did he ring and tell you yesterday? Just that we're getting rid of two of our MPs. Just a heads up.
Yeah. I didn't really get any more information than the public had. So their case for expelling the MPs is still a bit of a mystery, I think, to just about everybody. But my message back to them is the same as it's been right the way along. A future Labour government will be focused on inclusive governance, on bringing New Zealand together, on uniting people. The divisive sort of rhetoric that we've heard from Te Pāti Māori in recent times has no place in that.
Now, I'm not so sold on that one, because he's talking about what Taka Tefera said. I think that he's just basically labelled all Te Pāti Māori as being divisive. I think that one, being fair, is not okay. I think he could have said, people like Mr. Ferris, fine, but to say divisive from Te Pāti Māori, that now has gone to that step of one step too far, because it's not divisive language from Te Pāti Māori. There has been divisive language from one individual in Te Pāti Māori, so I think that's a misstep. And it's the kind of stuff we don't need. I noticed in the chat, sorry, it's gone, I didn't stare at someone talking about how much Chippy loves punching left. That comment is a bit more punching left. The first one, I think, was balanced enough. Maybe not how I would word it, but balanced enough.
So if they want to play any kind of role in the future, they need to be focused on bringing people together and offering constructive and positive solutions to the challenges facing the country.
And leave your wealth tax at the door.
Well, we've been really clear what our tax policy is going to be, a simple targeted capital gains tax, and that is the only tax policy that we'll be supporting.
Hey,
so before we move on to the last chat there, Chewie, which is about the asset sales, is there anything else you want to add to that? I think that Chippy's mostly there on that messaging. I don't know if I'd still do it. You could still be more distant if you wanted to be. You could still be more, look, that's their stuff to sort out. Go and talk to them. I don't know what happened behind closed doors. Like, they've got some stuff to sort out. They'll sort it out, and we'll talk to them next year. That's really all I've got to say. He could be there. That's probably where I would be. But also, like I said last night, when something is so obviously going wrong, to then pretend it's not, that's unwise as well, because that makes you look like you're not living in reality. So some of that, from a political point of view, more moderate, that point about Te Pāti Māori language being divisive, I don't like that myself.
Yeah, like you could bet these questions away by going, this is a question for Te Pāti Māori. This is a question for the Te Pāti Māori members. This is a question for the people who want to vote for Te Pāti Māori. By the way, we're contesting all the Māori seats for the next election. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, can we talk about how Christopher Luxon's a big bellend and I want to fight him in the car park? Like that should... Can we talk about how Nicola Willis still doesn't know what a capital gains tax is, judging by all of her words and actions? Can we talk about how National Party's social media team is just straight up lying and making shit up now? Can we talk about that, Ryan? And that little throwaway comment at the end, and they can leave their wealth tax at the door. Shut up, Ryan. Shut up. It probably won't get across the line, but it has nothing to do with you. Let's talk about a multi-party coalition negotiation, shall we? How many things did National bend over backwards to bring in, apparently? Yeah, so we might end up having to do that. It depends on the election, which is 12 months from now. 403 days, maybe.
Give or take.
God, I hate Ryan. He's terrible.
All right, last question is about asset sales, and then we'll wrap for the night.
Asset sales. Look, I know that there's an age-old argument that we've been having in this country for years, but does Luxon have a point on asset?
No. All right,
No.
we're finished for the night.
No.
Thanks, Fano.
Answered. Moving on.
Answered. Moving on.
Cycling that might need to happen, some of those commercial assets that the Crown owns, why do we own Landcorp, especially if it's not going to be, and I know it is now, but wasn't returning a dividend to the government, was making a loss?
What the Labour Party said is we want to move some of those commercial trading assets into a New Zealand Future Fund so that we can focus on managing them effectively through better discipline,
policy.
better commercial focus, and we can reinvest any dividends that come from that in growing the country's overall wealth. That's not what the National Party are trying to do. They want to sell assets because they can't balance the government's books. All that's going to do is make us a poorer country in the long run. And we've seen that time and time again in the past. National gets into financial difficulty and they flog things off in order to try and make their numbers add up.
Well, it would have been nice if you'd flogged something off so that the numbers weren't so diabolical when you left office, Chris.
Well, they've gotten a lot worse since then, Ryan. The deficit, which was a temporary deficit, has now become a structural deficit because of decisions that this government have taken.
So cut.
Did you hear that? A permanent deficit. Ryan had to agree with them.
Well, they've gotten a lot worse since then, Ryan. The deficit, which was a temporary deficit, has now become a structural deficit because of decisions that this government have taken.
So cut. We need to cut.
Well, we need to focus on changing the nature of government spending. So at the moment, they're spending too much on the operating side and not enough on the investment side.
And changing the nature of government spending.
Well, because if you give someone a job, you don't have to pay for a job seeker benefit. That's a good example of where government spending can be smarter. If we were building more things, rather than cutting back on building more things, then the government wouldn't have so many people on a job seeker benefit. 20,000 fewer jobs in construction now compared to on election day, that's a lot more expense for the government having to pay more job seeker benefits when actually we could be putting those people to work to build the future of the country.
Yeah. Very, very, very strong answer on asset sales. And I think that probably comes with his experience of, being in politics and around this for such a long time. Really solid answers. Can I just say as well, I was watching the chat as it was going past. People in the chat do not like Ryan Bridge. Like every third comment in there was like it was I've never seen it quite so aggressive towards Ryan Bridge all the way through. Good on you, Fano. All right.
Yeah, it's like, we need someone to ask the leader of the opposition a question. We've found this hairdressing model that owns a couple of properties. He should do. Just dreadful. Like he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm sure it's just a stainless steel pipe from the earpiece he's walking in to his fucking mouth. Someone's working him like a Muppet.
Honestly, it's all the way through. It's very good. All right, Chewie, do you want to add anything to the asset sales conversation before we wrap?
I think the only missed opportunity there that should always be a drum that Chippy rings is whenever something gets brought up about like, you guys spent a lot and that's why these decisions are going to have to be made, that he always brings up the fact that Nicola Willis is borrowing more than Labour did during COVID to keep us in our homes and keep our mortgages safe. Just massive levels of stimulus. Now, that's exactly how Our government describes it now as just a fire hose of money, right? Are just unrestrained, reckless. And that's why we're in the position that we are. Cool. Why is your finance minister borrowing more when you guys are taking in an axe to everything the public owns and the public uses? You're talking about disciplined government spending, and yet you're borrowing more every day, not for a pandemic level of stimulus, to keep the fucking lights on when you've laid off everybody, cut everything. Now Treasury is going, well, you guys have fucked it so much, you got to sell something. That is the plan. That has always been the plan. Because the cashed up people, the property owning class that have the liquid assets to swoop in and buy whatever the government is thinking of selling, they're the guys that are going to benefit. This is always the plan. To sell our shit to the fucking Faye Rich Wrights, Graham Hart, the Mowbrays, the guys that are just circling the shit that we own and have paid for over generations. They're wanting to buy it at a fire sale price.
Over Red Rover says it's about choices. Chippy knows his choices. Yeah. Yep. Also, I might have just deleted someone's. If I have, I apologise. If you don't get your chat come up now, I'm sorry, because we're going into Apple chats, which can wait. I'll go and try and find it. Yeah. Anything else, Joey?
So the thing that really surprised me while you're hunting for that chat is that the Sweetango is actually controlled, regulated for marketing, and is owned by the University of Minnesota.
Interesting.
They came up with it. They own it. They control it. It's a university apple, which is why I'm so smart.
Just saying, how about Super Saiyan? That's one that I accidentally deleted. Speaking of apples, because it's been the major topic of tonight, for fuck's sake, apples is apples. Says Danger Mouse. We will fight to the death on that. Apples is not apples. Apples can be very different. There's one called a lemonade apple. Have you ever had a lemonade apple? They're kind of like they're like a light brown almost. They're not green, but they're in that kind of spectrum. They're interesting, actually. They're interesting. James says, how do you like them apples? And Jonathan says, Winnie would be a Bramley sour cooker kind of apple. I withdraw and apologise. You are the winner. You are the winner.
But we could get even more divisive, like, because now we're talking about fucking trademarked American apples, and that's taken some of the shine off the apple for me. My favorite apple.
I see what you did there.
That's a good pun.
I did that.
Fruit pun there. We could talk about what this country's dreadful record of making mutant kiwi fruit is. Like, you know, all those hairless yellow ones and that sort of thing. I won't touch them. Give me an old school, furry, bright fucking green, a slightly sour kiwi fruit. I'll eat the whole thing, apart from the what is it? The anus of the kiwi fruit. You never eat the anus.
Someone just said in the chat, what the is a lemonade apple? Is it? Say hello to your favourite apple. Meet your new favourite apple.
Like an
what
apple
makes
is
lemonade?
an apple.
What makes lemonade
a lemon
so
is
special?
a lemon. Fruit needs to stay in their lanes.
So what makes a lemonade so special? Flavour. It's unlike any apple we've ever tasted. Lemonade is a bright, sweet, tart flavour that is refreshing and addictive. Its crisp texture satisfies with a firm yet juicy crunch. Lemonade apples. They're all right. They're not as good as Smitten. I actually expected to turn back, Chewie, and see you have already gone. But Chewie's like, I'm done. We're done out of here. So,
No, I'm talking with Peter about the Sweetango.
Okay. Danger of Mouse, our government are cooking apples very sour. Okay, we're going to go, or else this is going to now roll on into a conversation around mandarins, because obviously the loose skin mandarin is the best.
Do you get the seedless ones, and every now and then there's a fucking seed in it, and you're like,
Yeah, with grapes as well sometimes. Yeah. This does start to feel a bit like old man shouting at clouds. You do know that, don't you? That what we're doing right now. It does feel
Do
a bit
you
like
remember when they ruined fruit, and after the war you couldn't get bananas because of the U-boats?
Now, is a strawberry a fruit? Is a cucumber a vegetable?
No, it's
That's
a
the next
berry.
thing.
They're both. They're both no, cucumber's a fruit. The strawberry is a berry. Tune in next week for the next absolutely divisive split this country in half. Talk about fruit. It's the next of our Big Hairy Network brands. It's Fruit Talk.
I was just going to make a really homophobic joke about fruits and then say something about Ryan Bridge, but I won't. I won't go there at all in any way because it would be inappropriate and wrong. So
Luckily, no one here would be able to put that together, so I think we're safe.
Yeah. No. Okay, team, we're done. Even sort of making a joke about not making a joke feels wrong. Just feels I'm off there. I withdraw and apologize. Oh, now I'm that's wrong as well. Anyway, we are done for tonight. Remember, if you are in the Dunedin region, we've probably got some news for you. Let's say by the end of the week. I've got a meeting tomorrow morning to solidify some things up and down. But if you are in and around the Dunedin area, we will have a bit of an event for you to be at or available to be at on Friday the 5th. You can put it in your diary in the evening. And we'll tell you about it as soon as we know. Other than that, Joy, I don't think there's too much more to say. I didn't ruin anyone's show last night. I know I ruined a show on Friday night, which I apologised for last night, and I don't think anything else.
No,
it's funny.
I just really hope that funding proposal that went out to Big Apple, not that apple, the fruit apple. I hope this show hasn't ruined that.
Aporo. I believe that's how you say it in Māori. I believe that's right. Aporo. Okay, team, we're done. I'm sorry. Have you got a dog in your room? My dog has found better people. That's what she was chewing on. See that thing there in the middle? That's not like some strange dog love toy. It's a Nala bone. It's actually called a Nyla bone, but we call them Nala bones for obvious reason. So she's gone. So I'm sorry, team. That's it for us. All right.
Sorry, everyone.
Thank you for being a part of us tonight. I both apologise and I also amplify the ridiculous nature of half of our chat tonight. Tonight definitely was a strange show.
It does happen.
It does happen.
From time to time.
It does happen. And we'll catch you tomorrow night, team.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, vetting peas from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing a war path to run, and linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A and a self and a higher in mind. All heavily, neither this way or that, and we'll be analyzed by what Chewie and Pat. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, 2 nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's Big Hairy News.
I got nothing else, Chewie. I'm spent. Anything you want to add before we head off?
No, I am also done. To completion.
All right, team. We'll catch you tomorrow night from 9 p.m. for the next edition of Big Hairy News. 9 p.m. or maybe 9:02. We'll see how it all pans out.
Who knows? It's a mystery.
Hooroo!
Night. Nice.
Sorry to cut in here. I think we found a new tagline: entertaining, delightful, and delicious. It's BHN. There you go. Thanks, Glitter Fairy. Night, team.